What a moment for Metro Stars. They're back in this game, and we look like we're heading to extra time, but there's still 5 minutes to play here, Mark. And by all means, there could be more chances. Still in the box, and it's another goal! And it's Andre Cole, the hero for Croydon! We thought it was over, but it's not over, and Croydon look like they're going to go all the way to the win.
We can't say that now. Chrissy Penagaris, Adelaide Comets have taken the lead.
Deep off the head, and it gets into the back of the net. West Adelaide, they could be winning the championship with minutes to go. I bet he was going to be Travella if he puts one in. He goes himself instead, and it's still Soy Sakani. It's unbelievable, David, as well, and that one is definitely going to be credited to him.
He'll put in a cross of his own. Hobbs wasn't able to capture it. It's in.
It's not the one that seals up the Atletico promotion.
And the geezers too, yeah, we're doing this thing.
Hello, welcome to One Game at a Time. It is Wednesday, the 17th of September, episode 31, second to last of the season. I'm Seb Union, as always, joined by my three co-hosts. Starting off with David Grant. My question for this week, again, was a very quick one to think about. What is your preferred way of listening to music? Are you a headphone man? Are you an earphone man? Or are you a speaker guy?
I would ordinarily be a speaker guy, but speakers aren't always appropriate, especially if I'm on public transport. In fact, the last time I was on a bus and I used the speakers, they threw me off. So in those cases, it would be earphones, but on the whole, speakers.
Very, very good. And Mark Talbot for you?
Probably earpods. And I have kids, and so that's the best way. And I can tune everything out.
That's fair enough. And finally, Alessio Carocci for you?
I think it's in my room with the team speaker on full volume, where the dogs don't want to come in the room because it's so loud and it's jumping. So,
good choice. We'll have our picks of the week. Before that, Alessio, I will just mention your shirt as well. Care to elaborate on the shirt itself?
Yeah, this is an SSC Bari kit, Serie B team. My parents brought it back. Got a little sponsor on the back there. Brought it back for me from Italy, where they were the last couple of weeks, and I think this is the best match kit I have. I have an Adelaide United one from a cup final, but I just think the way this is made, the collar, even the V-neck, which I'm not really a fan of, I think it just works great. Even the detailing is kind of like Raiders of the past, but I think it's great. A second division kit, you don't see much better, and yeah, it fits pretty good too. So.
Not long sleeve though. Does that go down in your books?
Well, we're coming to the season where you don't really see too many long sleeves, Seb. So I'll give it a pass for now.
You'd still wear long sleeve anyway. David, I'll start with you for your pick.
I knew you were going to start with me, and I'm not ready because I'm going to talk about the All-Stars game this weekend. And I've just gone to Football South Australia's website, and I can't find anything mentioned of it, believe it or not. But on the Adelaide United website, they have got the match schedule and a little preview in there. So this weekend, the NPL All-Stars and the WNPL All-Stars, I should say the RAA NPL and the Apex Steel, or do I not need to? I'm not obliged to say that now because I'm not.
Absolutely not.
So the NPL and the WNPL All-Stars teams selected this week. I believe they're training this week. Carl Maynard taking the WNPL team, and Danny Greystone taking the NPL team for what's, well, this was a game that was played in the past, had a bit of a break, came back last year, and I think it was a success. I sort of thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a bit of a season curtain downer. Curtain closer. Curtain downer for the NPL and WNPL seasons, and a curtain raiser for the new A-League season, which isn't that far away. So the games are being played this weekend. The first game is Adelaide United's women playing Apex Steel WNPL SA All-Stars. That's Saturday the 20th of September at 12 p.m. at Service FM Stadium, and the men follow that at 2:30. Also at Service FM Stadium. As far as I can recall, there's the entry is just a gold coin donation, so no reason for you to not get down there and chuck a gold coin in the bucket and watch the last of the sort of local competition that's being played. But I can't find anything on Football South Australia's website. which is what I was looking for when you threw to me.
And you had a second pick as well, David, as well.
Did I? What was that again?
Do you want me to come back to you? So you
No,
can...
what was the second one? I want to get this over and done with.
No, you were gonna talk about the Modbury Vista was your pick.
I was going to talk about that, and then I thought, well, we're going to be talking about Modbury Vista and Adelaide Atletico a bit later, so I could probably talk about it then. But I went on a bit of an internet trawl to try and find another competition in the world where if you win your league, you don't win promotion. And I was unable to do that. I mean, there's plenty of leagues where there's no relegation. So the A-League's an example of that. Gibraltar's league's an example of that. San Marino's league is an example of that as well. But I couldn't find a division where if you win your league and there's a division above you, you don't get automatically promoted. So I just felt really for Modbury Vista, I felt if you've won your league, then, well, anyway. It's all done and dusted. It's we'll talk about it a bit later on, but that was going to be my second pick. That I'd gone in this internet search and couldn't find any evidence that I thinks it makes that State League 2 unique.
Unique is definitely the word to use for it. Mark, are you able to go to you?
Yep. I just wanted to quickly say actually something just off the back of what David just said then about the RAA, MPLSA and the Apex Women's WMPL. If either of those wanted to jump on board and we were happy to call them those on our show, then please reach out to us. That'd be great. Thank you. No, my pick of the week is that the Under-20s World Cup begins very shortly. There is a squad that is going OS shortly, and as you can see there are 7 SA boys in the pre-camp squad. First game is on the 29th of September. We've got Nathan Manatides, Stephen Hall, Luki Ivanovic, Panakikianis, Fabian Taladera, Musa Torre, and Johnny Yule, and obviously 4 of those boys there in our Adelaide United squad, which is fantastic. So I just thought, that if you're able, I don't know if they're being, I don't know how we watch them at this stage, but there's the games with Italy, Argentina, and Cuba. So not exactly an easy group, that's for sure.
Yes, I haven't. I did try looking for any sort of broadcast information, but I'm yet to see anything as of yet.
I was gonna say I haven't seen anything yet either.
Yeah, I would say my guesses would be either SBS or FIFA Plus is the newer platform where they tend to stream most international games. So, but I imagine something will be announced a bit closer towards the actual start of the tournament. Alessio, finally to you.
Yeah, mine is I guess a bit of positivity news for Metro Stars, seeing as their grand final didn't go their way. I thought it was an apt tweet and post there from them. Talking about how in 2014 they thought it was all over. They lost to Croydon in the grand final. They thought their weight was going to go a bit more, and they won Australia-wide competition in the NPL Australia. So they're obviously preempting they're going to have a good tournament in the Australian Championship, and I think they deserve to as well. They've got the consistency. This is a knockout team tournament where it's more than one game to show your worth, and I think they will do well in that kind of format. And I thought it was a good nod to the past where all the similarities of that 2014 grand final where they still achieved some team success on the national stage after that. So I thought it was a really good note.
Yeah, absolutely, and definitely looking forward to that Australian Championship campaign, which kicks off in not too long either. And I believe broadcast details are being announced tomorrow, which is something to very much look forward to and see where those go. We will move on to the next part of the show.
There's Alessio's door again.
Yeah, he's wearing red too, so it only fits.
I'll go see who it is, lads.
Yeah.
Oh, what a legend.
He must be happy that his parents are back. He gets a new shirt and he gets dinner cooked for him now.
Yeah. Well, we've got 2 of the Croydon coaching staff on tonight. We've got Tony Sacca and Michael Doyle.
I sort of feel we should be standing up. Should we be standing up?
Yeah.
I don't have enough room to stand, I think. Anyway, how are the both of you? Hope you are both well, especially after the weekend. Hope you celebrated aptly. But I suppose my first question is always, before we get to, I guess, the weekend for the both of you, tell us about your your coaching background and also your playing backgrounds up until this point. Michael, start with you.
Yeah, I guess as far as coaching side of things, this is my first opportunity working with GT and Tony. Obviously, before that, I'm recently finished playing. Spent all my juniors at Croydon, which was the benefit of coming back to them at the right time. And then a lot of time at Raiders, Interstate, and then back at Modbury for the end of my career. So very enjoyable.
Tony, for you?
Yeah, look, my career is not as great as Doyley's, but look, I started playing at Port Lion back then. It was called the Port Pirates. Now, moving on to Adelaide Galaxy, Adelaide Olympic, and playing at Raiders as well. I think, did I say that? Croatia. And then with the coaching, I had some family ties at Adelaide City, where once I stopped playing, I got involved with the under 23s back then. There was a man by the name of Gary Capola. He got me started on my journey. And I sort of did my apprenticeship under the people at Adelaide City, Damien Murray, Sabino Sabatino, people like that. And it's just evolved from there. And eventually, and I worked with George Sonis there as well. He was assistant back then to Damien Murray. And over time, I reconnected with George at Adelaide Olympic. We had some success there, and Comets the year after, or Comets a few years later. And here we are at Croydon.
Perfect. I guess, to start off with, on the Friday, sort of tell us about, I guess, the morning of the afternoon before the game. I often, sometimes when teams win grand finals and you talk to them after, they sometimes say things like, there's sometimes just that feeling that they knew that it was going to happen. Was that there at any point during the day, or was it sort of, I guess there was some nervousness, but I guess what was the general feeling? Michael, I guess I'll start with you for this.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page with this. It's one of those games where when the day started, I just couldn't see another outcome apart from winning, because I start to think about what's the bus ride back to the club going to be like, and I just didn't see it being a somber experience. And then everything just seemed to fall in place. It was a good warm-up, felt a good vibe in the change rooms, and then obviously it will go down in history, and I'm so happy for the boys to be a part of a great final that they really delivered on the day. And it's just a great experience for all of us involved. And
Tony, for yourself, I guess similar sentiments?
Very similar. My exact comments were, I had a feeling we would win. I just didn't know how. Given I knew how good Metro are, it was just, I just had a feeling, we're going to do this, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be an extra time, 90 minutes, penalties again. We did have a good feeling going up. Now, obviously, feelings are just that, feelings. So to do it was just amazing. It really was. Mm-hmm.
And I suppose as well, heading into the game, it's not a team that you had beaten this year in the league, and even the most recent reading, although 4-0 was still quite close. It was the last 15 minutes that it took, and I was there on that night, and you could sort of tell that it was a close match up until those final 15 minutes. I guess, how does that affect you? Maybe isn't the word, but how do you take that into consideration? Again, playing against a team in such a big game that you haven't beaten, I guess, this season yet. Tony, I'll start with you on this one.
So we actually had a chat. We chatted about our first fixture, where we lost 1-0, and the 4-0 result. And there were factors there as to why we didn't win, and especially the 4-0 loss. We didn't have quite a few players. We lost Luca Trimboli and Bowl very early in that first half. Metro pretty much almost at full strength that second game. I think Hamish Gow didn't play. I know Fabian was out too. Take nothing away, they're a quality side. So if you don't have your best players playing against them, they're going to give you a hiding, and they did that on the scoreboard. So I actually think it played into our favour losing 4-0. That's going to sound strange because I'm not sure if Metro thought, okay, we've beaten them 4-0, we can do this again. We were a different team on grand final day. So we had all our players back. The mentality was different. So did it help us? I think it did. But that 4-0 game, yeah, that was a very different game, very different side to the one we fielded on the Friday night.
Yeah. Michael, I guess for you, the same sort of question, I guess, especially talking to the players, I guess, how do you prepare them mentally for a challenge like that too?
Yeah, I think the first game was probably the most important in my eyes. That we lose 1-0 at home, but we played extremely well. And then we go on that 9-game unbeaten streak. And I think that was the sign of, hang on a second, we just went toe to toe with a team that has been the benchmark for a long time. They're very well drilled at everything that they do. And I think that was enough faith for the boys to go, hang on a second, we can do them in a game. And then the 4-0 was the wake up to go, if you're not at your best and if you're not ready to perform, then that can happen quite easily, like it could have on Friday night. And I think talking to the boys was just about instilling confidence. We know their quality. And I think over the year, it took time for us to start to believe that. And I'm obviously coming straight out of playing. I get it. Like once you get a couple good wins in a row, or you start to hit a little bit of form, start going, hang on a second, we could actually do something special here. And I think the longer the season went on, that's when the boys really started to pick up intensity in everything they did.
I guess one last one for me before I move on to the guys who had the best view of the night. The atmosphere on the night, you had the flags on the hill, you had all the supporters right behind your bench. How was that feeling, especially, towards the end on that final goal and the final whistle, having that behind you and just all around you, really? How much did that add to the experience for you? I remember watching, I don't remember who it was. I think it might have been the both of you. The first thing I see is two people from the bench sliding onto the pitch. I don't know. It was someone from your bench. Was it you? Yeah. But it was just good to see. Again, just how was that for you, just experiencing that? Either of you can answer this.
Yeah, I think for a boyhood club, for me, it was amazing. I think it was a fantastic atmosphere. We knew people were going to turn up. That was expected from the club because the club's been doing some great things behind the scenes. But to actually take a minute to look around, I was fortunate enough to be involved in 2017 when we won it as a player. But to be honest, this was much more enjoyable because I could see the players enjoy it, that they work so hard, and I could see so many people embracing these players, and you just thought, you know what, this almost feels a bit better than as a player. So I was nearly in tears, to be honest, for the club. So it was good.
Tony, for you?
Oh, the crowd support was fantastic. I remember some moments vividly. There was in the 75th minute where I think Vissa's played the ball out wide to Windsor. Windsor's crossed it to Cittadini. And for a second, the crowd goes quiet. And then when the ball gets cleared, the crowd just erupts. And then it gets cleared off the volley again. So I remember that because it was like, wow, we didn't realize how many people were there. And you only realize that when you hit those moments. So yeah, it was an awesome night. It really was. The crowd was just all game fantastic.
Yeah. Mark, I'll go to you.
Evening, gentlemen. I'm going to go straight into what was the game plan going into the game? Nice and simple question, but it's not an easy answer.
I think we obviously spoke about it before the game to go in that 15-minute block, get through the first 15, 30, 45, and then deal with it at halftime. We knew that they would come out strong. They're the best team for a long time now. But we knew we would adapt to it. So I guess from our point of view was we'll get our chances tonight and we'll get a chance to play our game. We know we rely on our wingers and Luca to create chances, but it was about grinding for them up top to keep us in the game. As soon as it got to halftime at 0-0, I was thinking, I didn't verbalize it, but as soon as they didn't score in the first half, I thought, game over here, that was your chance, boys. And now that was just the longer the game went, the confidence just grew. So that was the goal in our eyes as a team. So. And
Tony, yourself, was there anything that any players you sort of went, okay, on your team that you gave them real specific instructions, like don't let Gal turn it this way, or in that type of real small 1%ers that could have changed the game?
So we did a lot of Doyle and I did a lot of analysis on Metro. We gained, like I said, we gained a lot out of the games we played against them, even the games previously they've played. One thing we worked on was our shape from our forwards to our midfielders. We were very clear with them, and we walked this through. We did it on the whiteboard. If we can cover the passing lanes that Metro try to play through, we'd identify that there are certain players they play to a lot. All right. So we thought, well, if we can cover these passing lanes, even let certain players at the back have the ball, we banked on the fact that they might get impatient. And the first 20 minutes, yep, they were well on top of us. And we were sitting there thinking, okay, have we got this wrong? But we knew if we just kept our shape and allowed Metro to play, we knew that, okay, we're going to get the ball a bit because they're going to keep trying the same thing, whether it's a long ball over the top to their striker, a through ball through the channel to a winger coming in. We knew we'd be able to win that ball. And in the second half, I felt we started to get it really right. I feel Metro still they play well with the ball, but there were times when we got it and we turned it over, we looked more dangerous and Metro weren't going to get through. So it was important for us to recognise earlier that, okay, we're not a Metro Stars who we admire how they play. We really admire their ball movement. So we need to play to our strength. And what is that? So our strengths are keeping our shape, staying in the game. We had a great back line. We knew if we just didn't concede in the first half, we're in with a shot here. And honestly, that's as simple as it was for us.
I love the way you say it was as simple as that. It wasn't. It was brilliant. The game itself was brilliant as well. Alessia and I were lucky enough to commentate, and it was just a fantastic game to watch. Stepping away from Friday night's game, new rules come into play next year in the NPL around ages and things like that. How is that going to impact you guys next season?
Tony, you want to take it first?
Yeah, I'm still getting my head around this rule. Where we're fortunate is we've got quite a few young players. We do have a few older heads, which is fine. We did have a chat this week about our player list, and I suppose we've got players like Adam Good coming through. Who else is there that we've got?
Thomas.
I'm blank there, but Thomas, Thomas as well. So it's just one thing we're going to have to deal with, I guess. And I think other clubs are in the same boat. It's more about how do we manage them. One thing we want to raise is our standards at training. And for the young players, it's about, okay, how quickly can we get you to a level at training, which is going to be suitable to play on match days. So that's where we're going to start with the young players to say, right, you need to raise your game. And we are on our way to doing that. It is just going to take a little bit of time, though. That's all.
All right. I want to know the next. Again, I'm stepping away from Friday night here. Who's the person that's behind the appointments within the club that are bringing back players? You've got Munners coming back as your goalkeeper coach. You've got Rocky coming in as your sports director role. You got Doyle, obviously, you're stepping in there. Who's behind these decisions to go, actually, we need to bring these guys back? Because it's a fantastic decision. And I think they deserve a bit of kudos for bringing former championship winners, former greats of the club back into the club who may have been stepping away from it.
Yeah, so I guess this all started at the end of last year for myself. I knew I wasn't playing. I reached out to the club to see if there was an opportunity. Honestly, I probably would have taken, I don't know, the bin man at the club if they just got an opportunity to get me back there. That's what I was looking for. And I spoke to the club. Obviously, Mark was a part of that. But I would say Adrian Zajak, who's doing a lot at the club now, and the support of the board, is focusing on bringing those kind of boys back to in whatever role. Some people might not want to be coaches yet. Some people just want to be a bit more backroom staff or whatever. But it's open arms, and I think that's what the club has always been, and I think that's why we've seen such a diverse playing list over the years. But yeah, it's probably heavily from the board, and Adrian Zajak's probably pushing that a lot, being I've known your boy for a long time.
My next, I've got two more. Sorry, guys. So the first one will be, how do you back it up? How do you back up this year? How do you back that up for next year? What's the wheels already have been turning for a while now for next year? How do you back it up? What's the game plan that you're allowed to at least give us a little bit of detail? And I wouldn't expect you to give us your whole pre-season, your off-season, everything. But how do you back it up? I mean, seriously, what a season it was. So how do you then go about to go or trying to do the same thing, if not better?
So I'll start with this one. George said something during the interview at the end of the game, which was very telling, that when we first took over the team, we realised we had a team that was quite raw. So we had to do some real basic footballing sessions. We didn't expect to win a championship in our first year. We only expected 6th, 7th. That's where we thought we would end up, honestly. So we feel we're ahead now where we want to be. So backing it up, we feel, and we've told the players this, that we want everyone to come back as fit as they can, because we want to get started on the ball straight away, whether it's patterns, our ball movement, little things that we don't want to waste time just working on fitness in the preseason. So we want to back it up by really playing games early, game-orientated movements and scenes during preseason. That's the only way we feel we can move forward, because we're trying to build into the second year and the third year. Okay, well, what's our identity? And there's no greater example than Metro Stars. The team they were when Danny first took over to now is they're exceptional. And they do things, because I've watched them heavily, we're just like, wow, you're not going to do that in one season. So we're really focused on how do we make our players smarter? How do we make them make better decisions? And as a team, how do we deal with certain scenarios better? And that's going to be the next challenge for us moving into 2026.
Yeah, and to touch on that, I guess, like Tony said, we've come in, GT's come in, and Tony and myself, and the team has been ticking along nicely. Obviously, the club probably hasn't achieved what they wanted to for a long time, but the group was strong. We had Luke Klimek there still playing, Adam Martinello still playing, Vivian coming back from injury, Jared Brazali still there. Like, there was boys that were, the team was going okay. It probably just needed a bit more guidance on, what we can do this. And I think the follow-on for next year is anyone that does come in, it might not be anyone, it might be a couple of boys, but they're going to be the right character. And I know it's easy to say that stuff, but a lot of our research before we contact people that has been happening over the last couple of weeks. And if you're getting contacted, then it's because we believe you'll fit into this group. Otherwise, we wouldn't present players to this group, because we know that they're in such a good spot right now, and they're so tight-knit. So I think if we do bring in anyone and you guys see some names floating around,
and that's Rocky's job.
Yeah, exactly. You'll know that they're blokes you can have a drink with and have a chat with. So.
Yeah. All right, last one from me, and then I'll hand over. Apologies, guys. All right. Sacca, you mentioned this in your after-game chat, but what are you going to use for motivation for next year? Because you can't use our pre-season predictions next year. And not just one game at a time, but that was also, I did look at some other forums and notice everyone had put you guys lower down the table. What are you going to use for motivation next year? Come on, you can't just rely on us to help you again next year. Seriously.
I'm hoping the club throws us some free meals or some 3 chavaps or pierogi, or I don't know. Nah, look, I want to be clear. It wasn't a dig.
We know that. Don't worry, we know that. Because do you know what I say every week? I say we provide motivation to those clubs. If we put them down low, it's the motivation. That's what we do.
Honestly, it helped us fly under the radar. It really did, and You look at it and it's like, oh, geez, well, did really people think we're really that bad? So there's only one way to do it, is to prove that we're not. And hats off to the group. not once during training or anything do they ever go on about complain about why people think that we would be second to bottom or even relegated or wouldn't make the finals. They just got on with it. And every now and again we put it out there like, you know what, we're getting close now. Just remember those predictions that everyone gave. And they're healthy because we need it. So I hope you say we're going to get relegated again next year.
Well, unfortunately, after this year, I don't think that's going to happen. So apologies there straight away.
No, all good, mate. All good.
All right, that's me done.
Thank you, Mark. Alessio, it's you.
Yeah, usually I'm the one for the funny questions. I'll give them in a second, but first I've got one for each of you, for Tony as well. So in 2014, after they won, it kind of started a little bit of a glory period for Croydon. Do you foresee that happening across all the competitions as well for Croydon in the next 2-3 years? I mean, I think after that grand final win in 2014, they won the cup in 2016, played another final in 2017 that they won, lost the cup in 2018. So do you foresee it's going to be another period like that, or is it more about just keeping the consistency of making finals year on year out? Because in the past, since those finals as well, in the last 10 years or so, there was often times where they didn't make the finals in general either, but they did, when they made the finals, they seemed to win it. So what do you think is going to happen in the next few years at Croydon?
Look, we discussed this, and I think a goal of ours next year is to play is to make and play in the Australia Cup. The issue with you can be the victim of your own success sometimes, and having been involved with Adelaide Olympic in 2019, where we made the quarters of the round of 16. The issue is if you don't have deep squads, it can hamper you. And we were third at one point in that finals campaign, and we sort of fell apart a little bit. And that's where we want to keep our feet on the ground, but we understand that we might have a window here of 2-3 years. You know, what do we want to do? Do we want to make an Australia Cup? Do we want to win another championship? We have to be realistic about it too. There are some good teams in the NPL, so we just want to capitalise on what we've done this year. If we can take a few baby steps, be top 2, and make the Australia Cup, that's an achievement for us. Obviously, we all want to win a championship, but we do want to capitalise on this little period that we've got coming up.
And now to the fun ones. Michael, when is McGreevy getting a job?
Well, I was thinking that, to be honest, he would come and do anything as well. He's very similar to myself. It was surprising. I felt he was part of the coaching staff because I'm pretty sure when the whistle went, he was the first one next to me. So I don't know how he got on the pitch that quick. So, no security.
I don't know how I ended up hugging Sean. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, there's a photo of us hugging Sean, and I'm thinking, where did this guy come from? But he is Mr. September, and it was September. So.
And then the other one, I guess, for both of you, you might have seen different examples of this, but who was the last player or coach to leave the club rooms on Friday night?
Great question. I don't know who was last out of the coaches. I had concrete getting poured at my house actually at 7:30 in the morning. So I went straight to that.
Are you sure that's not just the excuse you use because you had a game of golf at 7:30 the next morning?
No. Golf was only Monday to Friday. So,
fair enough.
And as far as the boys, I think they all enjoyed themselves, and to try and put a little bit of a serious spin on it, we made it very clear to them this doesn't happen all the time. And I think as a player, you think once you've been in the final, especially if you're young, that you're going to have them every year. And I played for nearly 20 years, and I reckon I only had about 4 or 5 grand finals. So they don't come often.
All from you, Alessio?
That's it from me. Yeah, that's it from me. All good.
David?
Oh, it's my turn. So, well done. Congratulations. I actually picked you to make finals at the start of the year, unlike the other 3 on this show. Seb has conveniently lost the piece of paper that has that on there. But to be honest, I've got no idea why I picked you to finish so high. But I just wondered, you lost the first three league games of the season. I think you won one and then lost three, if my memory serves me correctly. So you had a sluggish start. And I commentated on a number of your games earlier on in the season. I think they were mostly away games for some reason. But I just wondered, was there a point, or when was the point in the season where you suddenly thought to yourselves, as you mentioned earlier on, I think, Tony, you said you were sort of thinking you finished 7th or 8th. What was the point, or when was the point in the season where you thought, hang on a minute, A, we could make finals, and B, we could win this title? Can you pinpoint that for us?
I can. In my opinion, I believe it was our second game against Adelaide Comets. And the reason I say that is Comets just came off playing I think it was a cup game. They played a midweek cup game, I think. Anyway, basically Comets and Croydon were very similar on points. We were, I think, 6th. They were 7th. The loser of and this is when the table was very close. The loser of that game would have got dragged into the bottom half, and the winner would stay with the top half. And I think it elevated us up to 4th. That was a big win because we never looked back from there. Had we have lost that game and we were 1-0 down at halftime, there's a very good chance we may not have recovered from that. And Comets never recovered, unfortunately, and we just kept going. For me, that's the moment in the season where we had to win that game to stay in touch with that top 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, very similar as well. Very similar. I think mine was maybe that couple of weeks earlier with that, like I mentioned before, that Metro game. I think it was a really good performance from us, probably one of the best, and we end up losing the game 1-0. But it was a really good professional championship type of performance. And I think after that game, I went, hang on a second, this team's for real. And we always believed that there was a lot of potential. But again, I think the players started to believe that. That's why the run went so well. And then when a little bit of luck fell our way early in the Bacala game, in the finals, the first start of the finals, then I went, oh, hang on a second. I've had this feeling before, and the last time I had this feeling, we won something. So,
yeah. And going back, continuing with the theme of moments, but going back to the actual final itself. So there were 3 obviously key moments in terms of when the goals were scored. Yourselves early in the second half, and then of course the equaliser in the 91st or 92nd minute, and then the winner. When that equaliser went in, was that confidence that you were still going to win it? You mentioned earlier on when you got to half time and it was still nothing each, you felt, this was going to be your night. You had the vibes in the dressing room and so on. But when that equaliser went in the 91st minute, did you still have, obviously immediately you would have had doubts, but did you still have the feeling that you were still going to go on and win that game?
I think in my eyes, when they equalised, I was like, there's still chances in this game, even though he played 6 minutes. I still don't know where that come from. But and then it goes to 10 anyway. But I just thought they will try and kill this game off, so that it will open up and we'll get a chance on the break. But then in the back of my mind, I was also thinking if this goes to extra time, I think it will then go to penalties. And then it'll just be another moment for Daniel Margush to show his absolute quality in this league. So I did think penalties are on the cards potentially.
Yeah. And you, Tony, any moments in the game in particular other than the goals that stood out for you, other than the crowd in the 75th minute?
Well, when Metro scored it, I straight away went into, oh, great, here we go. I was actually preparing for penalties because I didn't think there'd be a goal in extra time. And knowing we've got Daniel Margush in goals, I backed us to, if we got to penalties, okay, we can do it there. And then I felt that we didn't really have a lot of time to even think about it after, because once Andre scored, it was just so surreal. It's like, wow, okay, well, we can actually win this in 90 minutes. What I take my hat off to our boys is that second goal that we scored was all them. You can't coach that. You can't coach defending that. That is all them. That was all them. The fact that they're from the kickoff, which is something we've worked on. We've always said we don't want to play back from a kickoff. We want to play in the opposition's half with intent. So Ned playing that ball over to Pazia to cross it in, and for Andre to score, I'm so proud of the boys and how they did that, because that wasn't us, that was all them, and you can't coach those moments.
Yeah. Good. Well, speaking of individuals, I before the trophy was presented, I made my way over to try and have an interview with Ned Styles. As you might recall, I was on the boundary, and I did that because I felt Ned had been a real standout for you. And in the end, he did win that best on ground award, medal, whatever it was. Was it a glass silverware thing? It looked nice. But for me, Ned was a real standout in the game, and that's why I tried to get the interview with him early. As it happens, we were interrupted by the presentation, and I got him after the game. I don't know a lot about Ned, so he missed up until he said round 19 through that injury that he had. I just wondered if you could comment on his performance as far as from your perspective, and also any other individuals that really stood out for you that you felt had the game of their lives. And it's okay to say they all played well.
Doyle, you can take this.
I'll go. I think just to touch on Ned first as well. Ned had a difficult start to the season with Osti. And if you've had that before, players that know that have had it, it's really challenging and you can't get your body right. And I don't think he missed many training sessions. He was out every single training session doing his rehab, going through his movements to be ready, because like we've said with this whole group, is everyone will have their moment at some stage in the season. And Ned's, he probably only played 4 or 5 games in the end. And I think after his, first 1 or 2 games to get himself back into it, I thought he was outstanding in every other game. So it was so pleasing to see someone like that be rewarded for good effort, good morals, good everything. And as far as players, you're right. I think the team was outstanding, and there were so many great individuals on the night and throughout the season. But for me, I'm extremely happy for the back four to be able to defend so well against a team that has got so much firepower that I know what it can be like. You can be parked back there and thinking there's no hope. And I thought they were outstanding on the night. And Bold, for me, is by far the best centre-back in the league that we've seen for a while. So
he did hit my car with a clearance, though, back in round 14 that I'm still a bit upset about. But yeah.
I do. At White City, I believe.
Yes, right. Oh dear. And for you, Tony, just on the team itself, any individuals or just a very diplomatic, everyone was great sort of answer? Or?
Oh, look, there were some players who, I'll be honest, a player like young Oscar Slattery, we see great potential in him. He's growing into a real standout senior player. So his game against Adelaide City and in the final, could it have been better? Yes, and he knows this, but he's only going to learn by playing in these big games. So we're not worried about that. And that's why we're happy to play in these games, because young players are going to get that experience to play in a final. Ned and Bowl stand out for me, and I'll tell you why. Bowl, week before the season started, I had my reservations. I was like, geez, I don't know what's going to happen here. He ended up playing the season of his life. He's converted me. I've got so much time for him. Fantastic defender. And Ned, he hadn't played all year. So we'd written him off, saying, okay, well, I'd written him off in the sense we're not going to see you this year. So to come out and play a role in the finals and win man of the match, these people have really impressed me, and I think they've impressed George and Michael as well. So that's really comforting to know that we've had players that Ned's been like a new player for us, injured all year, comes in, dominates in the midfield. I mean, what more can you ask, really? That's brilliant.
Yeah, cool. And no more questions, but I'll just finish with a bit of a statement. As I was down in the boundary, you guys think you had an anxious evening, because I watched you through the first 45 minutes, and you did all look very anxious compared to the Metro bench through that first half. Maybe not so much the second half, but certainly the first half. But if you think you had an anxious evening, the batteries on my microphone packed up just before the first half, and I couldn't talk to the people up in the media room. And so replacement batteries were sought for me at half time. And then 4 minutes before the end of the game, the batteries in my receiver, which is the little unit that's sitting in your back pocket, packed up as well. And Johnny Keckle was summoned to send some batteries down for me, and he took forever to come down, sauntering along, chatting to everybody as he came along. So we were lucky to get the interviews at the very end, because I didn't think Johnny was going to get to me. So you think your time was anxious? Put yourself in my place.
That definitely sounds stressful.
That's it from me, sir.
No, all good. Mark, I'll go to you for one last questions or finishing off, basically.
Yeah, so question for you, Tony. How did you manage to get leave of absence, time off, going into the first leg of the semi-final against Adelaide City to go for a gentle run? GT, seriously, mate, you need to put him in. How do you get away with that?
Yeah,
And it was only a gentle run.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't like you were running a marathon or anything like that.
Yeah, so for those out in the wider world, I ran the Sydney Marathon a couple of weeks ago. I'd entered the ballot quite a few months ago, actually, not expecting to get an entry. And when I got the entry, when I got accepted, didn't really take note of when the marathon would be run, and it ended up being on the first leg of the Adelaide City game. I did speak to George about it as it got closer. I just sort of parked it because I was thinking of not even going. And George actually said to me as it got closer, he goes, "No, look, you go. Don't worry about it. We've got everything here." I'm very confident in Michael taking over while I'm not there. So it was a calculated risk. There were 2 legs as well. So I thought, well, if we lose the first leg, I'm back for the second. So it's not elimination. So I'd sort of planned it in that regard. And I'm glad I did it in the end. The team was very supportive. George was very supportive of it too. So there's another marathon ticked off. And I got another one in a few weeks coming up too. So yeah.
Jeez. What are the ones that you have ticked off, just so people understand how dedicated you are to this whole marathon running, which completely eludes me. I don't know why you'd want to do it. But give us a rundown, because I know you've run some big ones.
Yeah, so I've in 2022 I ran the New York Marathon. 2024 I ran the Berlin Marathon, and this year I've run Sydney, and in a few weeks' time I'll be running in the Chicago Marathon, and they're all world major marathons, so they're not just your everyday run of the mill. You have to either have to qualify, which I'm definitely not qualifying, or you get selected through a ballot. So it's sort of a little bit of a life goal now. Can I tick all the world marathon majors off?
And what's your time? What's your time?
Thank you.
What kind of time are you doing them in?
Yeah, I average between, say, 3:45 and 3 hours 50 minutes.
I was going to say, I thought you meant days, because that's what it'd take me, 3 to 45 days.
Sydney was challenging, but yeah, it's one of those things. Once I stopped playing soccer, the reason I got into it is once I stopped playing soccer, and young players, you only realise this when you don't know when your last training session is, you don't know when your last game is, and very quickly, I like to eat, being Italian and all, so the weight piles on very easily. So I needed to do something, and my good friend of mine, Michael Peroni, ran the London Marathon. And
he did, yes.
He inspired me to just go out for a 5K, 10K run, and you know what? It's something I do now, not only for my health and my ambitions, but for my own mental health as well. So that's why I do it.
Great reason to do it as well with that mental health. It's something I really get behind, that's for sure. So I'm gonna finish off because I can. Goalkeepers, how good is Margush? That's the question.
He's all right.
Scale of 1 to 10.
He's all right.
The funny thing is, I've had a bit of a laugh with him over the last couple of weeks. A couple of things have happened throughout the year, and I ended up having to help out with the goalkeeper coaching stuff And I always would walk over to Daniel like, what am I going to tell this guy? So the only tips I really gave him, Tales, was the W. So when he captures it, is to make sure he's got a strong W. And just try and hold everything so you don't give away corners. That was the only tips I gave him. So,
well, they worked.
Another level.
I mean, they worked. That's for sure.
He's still a dedicated pro in his the way he operates, whether he's playing NPL or if he was still with the A-League, which I'll be surprised if he doesn't get another opportunity, because the dedication he puts into his trade is amazing, and this is what the boys need to see. Is that's the next level up. So.
Yeah. Well, I actually said to him a few weeks ago, I hope he doesn't go to the A-League because it's great having him here in the NPL, and that's purely from a selfish point of view from just us in the NPL, to be honest. So I hope
he's my goalkeeper buddy as well.
Yeah. You always need a good one of those, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No, that's fair enough. I was just going to say, and he got awarded goalkeeper of the year. Just want to say, I picked that at the start of the year. I said at the start of the year he'd win keeper of the year, and so I'm like, I'm happy with that. I'm done. I don't need to do any more tipping.
Yeah. great tip to pick an A-League goalkeeper to keep him as well.
Exactly, mate. I'm not silly, mate. I'm not silly. That's for sure.
No,
I could have gone with John Hall. He's A-League. A-League as well.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I could have. No, that's all from me.
Thank you for that, Mark. That's pretty much all from us for the two of you. Congratulations once again to the both of you and to the whole of the club, even though none of us said you'd even win the grand final. I'm surprised you didn't bring that one up, but you brought up the relegation. But no, congratulations again. It was a great game, delivered a wonderful spectacle. And yeah, already looking forward to next season, and enjoy the off season as well for the both of you and the rest of the squad.
Yeah, and a big
good
thank you
luck on
from
those
us.
runs.
I feel like I should stand.
Big thank you from us guys as well. We appreciate everything that you do. And it's probably coming from the whole league as well. To have something like this is, I know it takes up a lot of your personal time as well. So we thoroughly appreciate it. And if you're ever down at Croydon, come hit us up and we'll look after you there, okay?
Appreciate that.
I'll be there. Don't worry about that. It's one of the closest to home.
Just to echo what Michael said there, thank you as well. That's what you do is just fantastic, and we need more of it. So well done. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
Congrats
absolutely.
again.
Very good chat with the both of them. Very insightful.
Awesome.
And yeah, we'll go into the match a bit more in a bit, but we'll start off going through the recent weekend, starting off with the State League 2 promotion playoff final, not a grand final. David, we'll go into this. Of course, you brought up the point earlier. Might as well bring it up now. Mowbray Vista, unfortunately, third consecutive time, aren't able to get promoted. Finished first in the North and couldn't do it. Your thoughts on that before the game itself to start off with?
I'm not prepared again. Look, I was bitterly disappointed. I was bitterly disappointed for Mowbray Vista. At the end of the day, it was a final, and you could argue that the better team won on the day. But I think for them to have finished the league top of the table and have had the season that they did have, consistency speaks volumes. And I think it's I think there's a bit of a robbery going on when the team that wins the league doesn't win promotion. I feel the top two teams in each of those divisions should have gone up, and the playoffs should have been between the teams in second and third. 4 teams in second and third below them. So really feel for Vista, and I just wanted to sort of mention that as well. First and maybe foremost, I'm not sure. But were you going to say something, Seb?
I was just going to say, sort of echoing your points, when we had the post-game interviews, both Marcos Flores and Andrew Shaw sort of said the same thing about how they almost felt, I'm paraphrasing, but it was almost a guilt they had about winning the game and being promoted, because even they believe that, Mowbray Vista probably, I'm not saying they should have been promoted due to their league play. So I thought that was quite interesting, hearing the honesty, especially after winning such a big game, that even they could take themselves out of the moment and realize the bigger picture, I guess.
Yeah, I think Marco Flores has got to be commended for that comment. I think Atletico deserved the promotion, right? So they were competitive in the league. They had beaten Vista, or not beaten Vista, but they hadn't been beaten by Vista through that home and away season. They were, I think, the only team to have achieved that. So look, they deserve a promotion. There's no doubt about it. They've gone through, they finished as runners-up, they've gone through a playoff system, and they've won that playoff system, and they deserve the promotion as well. But certainly acknowledge what Marco Flores said at the end of in his interview post-match, and that's that, he really felt for Vista as well. And the system is just so strange that you can win the league, and you don't go up, the team below you goes up. But we need to probably talk about Atletico, don't we? Because at the end of the day, they ended up in the final series, and they won that final series, and I think deservedly so as well. They had a good final and probably deserved the win on the day.
Well, I'll just say we'll go into the game itself, which of course both me and you were on. The first half, the first half really was all Mobry Vista. Atletico couldn't really make any inroads forward, and I think a main comment we made was the fact that any time Atletico got forward, they just looked sort of lost, whereas any time Vista sort of ran forward, there was another 3 or 4 options either side, not either side of them, but you know what I mean. It was just the first half that Atletico just sort of had to absorb somehow, I guess, David.
Yeah, and I finally found my notes. So thanks for filling in the air there while I managed to find my notes. Yeah, I mean, I think as you said there, that we mentioned, when Vista were going forward, they just seemed to have more options than Atletico. When Atletico went forward, they just seemed to dry up a little bit. I think in commentary, the observation I'd made from the Atletico perspective was that they had that Taishi sitting in midfield, and Lucas D'Argenio, who was the other midfielder. And gosh, I can't remember who Pablo Correa, that's right. So they were the 3, but Taishi just sat a little bit deeper than the other 2. And I felt Vista were exploiting the midfield a little bit better, because their midfielders in Essex, Linsenmeyer and Wegner were a bit more compact. They've played across the park instead of having a sort of, a 4-1-3-2. Atletico had a 4-1-2-3, and that one, Taishi just sitting a little bit back, meant that effectively going forward, Atletico really only had 2 midfielders and 3 strikers, 3 up front. So there was just a little bit more in the way of gaps, if you like, in Atletico's midfield. But they didn't change the formation in the second half. The Taishi still sat behind those other 2, and the goals came late. And I think, on the balance of play, Atletico probably deserved the win. The other comment I was just going to make while I remember is how wet they made that pitch.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. Especially you'll see it in the second goal too.
So quite honestly, it just seemed completely unnecessary. The pitch was watered before the game, but at half-time they get an absolute drenching. There were players slipping all over the place. And understand that, a little bit of moisture on the ground's, not a bad thing. But to do it to the point where players can't stay on their feet or are wearing the wrong boots, in some cases, really just... both teams are going to play on the surface, so it wasn't advantageous or disadvantageous to either of them.
It was to both.
Yeah. Sorry?
It was disadvantageous probably to both when you think about it. But yeah, just going back to this as well here.
Yeah, so I was just going to touch just the final point on that is that I don't know if I'm excusing Hobbs or not. It was should have been a routine catch, but I suspect that maybe it just slipped through his hands because the pitch was just soaking. The ball would have been wet as it came in. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that slipped through his hands because he's a better goalkeeper than that. We all know that from what we've seen and heard and spoken about throughout the year. So disappointed for Hobbs. He'll be gutted. Mobry Vista got right round him though. I mean, to be honest, they give him all the support he seemed to need when he was out there. So commend them for that. But yeah, I just don't really understand why the pitch had to be. I mean, it was just sodden, wasn't it, Seb?
Yeah. I think, especially, I think it was funny. I think at halftime when you were coming back, you were having to swerve in between the sprinklers coming back to the scaffold. And it was the whole bitch. And it even happened to be in the State League 1 game, which we'll move on to in a second. They watered it even more so. So I'm not sure what the reasoning was for that. I guess that's probably a question for, I guess, even Alessio now playing. How do you find it when you have a really wet pitch compared to, I guess, a dry one as a general playing perspective, as in this day and age?
I just think I just can't understand why players wouldn't have the 2 pairs of boots. We talked to myself and Johnny talked to John Fusco before the Sturt game, and I said, "Oh, you got so many players, make sure they got their medals." And he's like, I think they really don't bring 2 pairs of boots. They don't really bring medals anymore. And I'm very surprised at that, especially the levels these guys are playing at, the consistent amount of grass pitches that you play on in State League 1. I think that's the league with the most grass pitches, I'm pretty sure. Maybe even the North is. The North State League 2 is even. But I'm very surprised that they don't have that. And that's what I would do in any case. I mean, you might only have to do it for 2-3 games a year, like I did. I only had to use it for away at Western Strikers, away at Noarlunga. Like, they play them in the.
I'd be worried if you were wearing them at your ground.
Yeah, I've seen people wear medals and artificial. That's not. Yeah, but I'm very surprised. I mean, you would take any little 5%er, keep you on your feet, and especially in the grand final as well. I mean, we'll go on to the Sturt game in a minute, but I can't say that they would have won the game if they had medals on. But there were some massive chances that were just stopped by slips.
To be fair to them, though, and I agree with you. If I was semi-professional or playing at that level, I would have bought 2 pairs of boots. But to be fair to them, the ground was soaked at half time. So when they went in at half time, it was probably quite dry. When they turned up at the ground, it was a beautiful, bright, sunny day. There wasn't any forecast for rain, so they wouldn't have been expecting to have to wear medals.
But I've seen people have medals on the bench and get changed into them during the game. I've seen that before. It's not uncommon. I mean, but even the Sturt game, I saw the team manager bring, I think, a couple of pairs of boots that were on the bench for some of the players if they needed to change into them. So I'm just surprised if you have a grass pitch, no matter what the weather is, you just bring them because it could be wet
Friday night too.
I'm not
McNamara brought out boots. Sorry, he brought out studs on the Friday night as well.
I'm not disagreeing that they should have brought extra boots, but I guess it's maybe not what's foremost in their minds. I mean, have you ever watched the tennis players playing the Australian Open? They turn up with a bag of rackets this size. Well, they only need one, really, don't they?
I suppose, just to finish off on the State League 2 grand final, David, great atmosphere as well to add to that as well. Both Vista, we saw it in the championship final against Eastern. They brought it again in Atletico with what we figured out was a mix of vuvuzelas and kazoos. Was really nice to, I'm going to say it was nice to hear, I think, for a little bit of difference compared to, sometimes when we do our MPL games, it is a bit quieter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of atmosphere. I don't know if I'm a fan of vuvuzelas and kazoos particularly, but the atmosphere was good. It was those 2 late goals from Mayo and Correa just capped it off nicely for them, and they ran over to a sea of peach pink. Is that what we thought?
Pink,
yeah. So they ran over to a sea of peach pink to celebrate, and it was a good atmosphere. It was a nice day out. Yeah.
Congratulations to Atletico again. Looking forward to seeing the pink kits in State League 1 too.
I was just going to say, I watched the game, but I missed the presentation. Who was awarded the man of the match for the
Tatsaichi, which I think is me, Christian, and David all agreed before it was even announced. So I think it was a pretty overwhelming response for that, and well deserved.
Well, I watched it, and completely understand that.
Yeah, we'll go on to the State League 1 grand final, which, Alessio, you were pitch side for it and can probably give us the best overview of it all, I guess, from your perspective.
Yeah, I thought it was a great game. I mean, I think I can't remember all our predictions, but I think a lot of us predicted this is going to be the goal fest. The goals are going to come in this game, and it was the tightest one of all. I thought there was so many chances in this game, especially for Sturt. You watch these replays and you could probably say, I wish there was a SOFA score stat for goals expected in State League 1, because this game, there was so many. I do feel a bit sorry for Sturt because all of their forays forward, and they really didn't have anything coming back at them. And it was only mistakes to come at them, which got the equaliser, and then a set piece, a turnover from the goalkeeper, and then a turnover in open play for West Adelaide's first goal really killed them. But it started off with such a goal from Jacob Atkinson. I mean, another unsung hero in the Sturt team. I've seen him play for many years. He's one of those players you probably won't see until January in pre-season, but he just provides stuff that a lot you can't buy. Like, there might be someone might come up against him and think, "Who's this guy? I've never seen him. Some Aussie surfer. I've never seen him play." But the way he plays is he's actually a surfer, so I can say that. But just the way he plays is like, I'm really surprised that I guess he's very loyal to Sturt Lions as well. But the way he plays is a very silky midfielder. You can't replace him. They brought some midfielders into the club this year in Mostashimi. They had Ethan Nassau in the past, who was on the opposing side in this game, and no one could replace him. He's just a mainstay in their team and had a great goal, and you see what happened later in the game, unfortunately for him. But on the other end of things, this was based on the first counter-attack of the day. I don't think West Adelaide really had tested Sturt Lions or even got in their half and did something dangerous all game until this happened. This was a great goal, of course. But then following this, I mean, there might be some chances you'll see here that just stopped by a couple of slips. And I think Gonzalo Rodriguez was very much ruining his misses in this game, because I think he would have had probably at least 2 or 3 expected goals just from his stats, because he had so many chances himself. That was in extra time here. But in terms of the football match in general, I think it's a great advert for State League One. 2 teams that are coming up into the NPL who are not scared to play, not scared to test the waters here in the NPL. I mean, I think I was talking to John after, and I was talking to Theo, and I guess we're not sure who the West Adelaide coach will be next year, but they want to go up in the league and they want to be consistent for years. The first year is most of the time somewhat the easiest. A lot of these teams come into the league in the first year, they do quite well, they make finals maybe, might even make prelims on some occasions, but then it's the years after that where they really struggle. And I know both teams, I'm sure, are really hoping that that's not the case this year, and they're going to try and build squads that are made for the future as well. And you can see that in Sturt Lions lineup. A lot of those players, especially on the bench, and even that young Garrett who's got the ball now, have come through the juniors all the way. It was good to see in the interviews as well, and even talking to some of the players, that some of these kids were the ball boys in the 2017 grand final for Sturt Lions. For West Adelaide, there's a lot of players there who've been there quite a few years as well. Of course, this team has also added a few new players, a few ex-MPL players and experienced heads, but they've also got some in the past, like O'Donnell, who's been there before. Dion Kirk's won plenty of things as well. Castaneda was obviously part of Metro in the previous few seasons. And even Felix and his brother, I'm pretty sure they were part of Para Hills when they got promoted too. Yeah. So they've got a lot of young players that are ready for the future. But yeah, if you look at these highlights, I think you're very disappointed if you're Sturt. Talking to some of their players as well, they kind of felt like this could be their last grand final. I mean, there's a few older heads in that team, and they felt very disappointed in their own performance, saying that these are the games for experienced players to win, and we just didn't do it in this game. And I mean, they're going out to the NPL. They're not expected to make NPL finals. They never, like a grand final, they never have. Cup finals the same, and it's not the game you want to, I guess, finish the year on. And talking through, as we saw in the interviews with John during the week on the local game and pre-games as well, talked to them. Sturt wanted to go hard in this game because they don't want anyone to steal their thunder for the season. He said that to the players throughout the final series. He said it to them throughout the season, saying, we've done so well. We're not just going to give up after we've mathematically won the league. This is our season. We can't let anyone take silverware from us and be remembered as, oh, you won the league, but who won the grand final? You won one trophy, who won the other one? So I think they really gave everything at this one. But I think both teams really have a bit of work to do squad size and on some of the players they have in that squad as well. I think that they're both missing a little bit of quality on their benches when some of their starting players are not performing as they would have liked. So I think it'll be difficult as well because some of those players for Sturt are those ones who are going to tick those boxes for under 23 and homegrown players. But yeah, I think for West Adelaide as well, they've got to find the coach. So,
well, I guess, David, as someone who probably covered West Adelaide the most across the season, at least in State League One, from my own personal thinking, I guess, how do you, especially, I think the thing that excites me about them being an MPL, if they keep the combination of having Rovu Boyers and Yuya Kato, those two, every time I watch West Adelaide, I think I've done maybe 1 or 2 of their games too. They're very exciting to see, and hopefully, I guess, for them, if they can keep them in that squad, what they're possibly capable of too.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Rovu Boyers obviously is an international player as well, so that helps our profile for our local game out there in the Pacific. And Kato and Ota and all of these players that at West Adelaide that I've seen have been really impressive at this level. Dion Kirk, obviously, he's been around a while as well, and Jackson O'Donnell at the back, just to sort of deviate from the two that you mentioned. I feel West Adelaide have been. So let me just step back a bit and say that I've probably covered about 4 West Adelaide games this year, and I'm not really sure why. It just sort of happened, Maybe I was doing women's games and decided to do a double header, or there was a game on a Sunday and I fancied it.
I think we had a few Sunday games from memory, and alone.
Yeah, and so just to get out of the house and get out of the way of the family, because they can't really stand me being around all the time, I maybe took myself off. So look, what I'm trying to get to is that I've seen West Adelaide quite a lot this year, but I haven't seen a lot of other teams. So if I've seen West Adelaide 4 or 5 times, I've only seen 4 or 5 other teams once. So it's hard for me to make that comparison with a lot of the other State League 1 sides. One thing I would say though is, and I just wanted to be a bit honest here, is that when they make that step up to the NPL, it is a big step up, and I say this nicely. They're quite a diminutive side. They're quite a short group. They're very fast. They're good on the ball, but I just wonder how they'll go if it's more physical. They possibly need just a couple of I'm a bit speaking from an old-fashioned perspective here, but maybe just need a couple of big units in there as well, just to give them more of a physical edge, I think, in the NPL. That's just my honest thoughts as they make that step up. Start a bit different. They've got some old heads in there, plenty of guys who've played in the NPL in the last couple of years. So, I think Alessio's right. I think both sides probably need to do a little bit of recruitment just to fill themselves out a little bit. But I think you're right as well, Alessio. Teams tend to do well in that first year of promotion. The target's to stay up, and most of them do that. It's that second year where, they seem to be more susceptible to coming undone, if you like. But yeah, that's my brief thoughts on these two teams. I haven't seen Sturt this year. I don't think I've covered a game of theirs.
Yeah, and of course, West Adelaide going on to win the game in extra time. Good environments, and as you said, Alessio, a good game to watch. The only game of the weekend, which of course I guess didn't really. I'm not going to call it a dead rubber, but it was the game that technically had the only trophy on the line, which was a little bit interesting, I guess, especially when you had the comparison beforehand of having that State League 2 match for direct promotion, and then with that game right after, just an interesting general thought, I think. And I think it's probably been something we've discussed as well throughout the year about, does the first place team just get to go up and the rest play playoffs? I spoke to a few people, I think, actually on the day during the State League 1 game, and that was sort of the general sentiment that I got, was that should it be the 1 up and then 2 to 5, I think? Play
3, 4, 5, yeah. That was the general sentiment I got as well, that most people felt that, if you've won the league, you're promoted, and the playoffs should be between 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. I know there's prize money and all sorts of other things that are in the back of people's minds, but, if that's the issue, give the winner a little bit more prize money.
Reallocate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a point to finish off on. But yes, congratulations to West Adelaide in the end, but then also on Sturt for both being promoted. Finally, we'll go on to the big one, the NPL Grand Final, which was on Friday night between Metro and Croydon. Mark or Alessio, who wants to sort of take the reins on it? Well, we'll go to Mark then. That's clearly very
I wasn't sure who he was pointing to then. I'm like, is he pointing to the dogs? What's he doing there? Look, the NPL game, I mean, what an advertisement for our game, to be honest. It was end-to-end. It was fast. It was furious. Both teams had to defend like their lives were depending on it, and they did. Alessio and I covered the stats, and there was nine shots and 10 shots, 2 on target to 1 on target. But if you look at it, if when you're watching the game, the amount of times there was a blocked shot that only went a couple of yards because of some just desperate defending, it was just incredible. Passia John, who's on the ball here, like block shot there. Passia John tracking back, Chittadini tracking back. Like, it was just that neither player wanted to give up an inch. And so both teams just, I thought both teams just went for it. Metro was certainly the better side in the first 20, 25 minutes. But Croydon had a game plan. They stuck it out and they scored straight after half time. So we knew that they knew that if Metro scored earlier, it'd be a very different game. I think Metro also missed their leading goal scorer, as any team would. They missed Owen Windsor up front. We saw the difference when he came on late in the second half of what he can do. So I think they probably missed that in the first 75 minutes, 65 minutes maybe. But yeah, the game itself was a brilliant game to watch. It was an absolute pleasure to call. And yeah, I mean, there's not much more you can say. You just got to watch the game back to see how good it was, to be honest, because it was a fantastic game. Metro, one thing I thought Croydon did very well was nullified Metro's midfield after a certain period of time. That after that first sort of 20, 25 minutes, Croydon sort of nullified the Metro midfield, which usually wins them games. That midfield three, be it Woodfin, Gow, Satira, or Fortunato, or RB Mollis at the start of the year, that's what won them games, because that no one could compete with that midfield. But I thought that Croydon did an absolute great job after that first 25 minutes to nullify that midfield trio. And that really played a part into the way they played, and obviously, and it really helped them. I mean, we just see here again, Polly tracking back. But that's what it was like the whole game, as everyone was just willing to throw themselves at everything. And I don't think there was a bad player on the park all night, to be honest. I thought everyone played really well, to be honest. They picked Ned Stiles. He was brilliant. Bolmapore was brilliant. Metro had some players that were brilliant. Woodfin popping up here and there. You know what I mean? So it was very much a very even game. But to be honest, I'd recommend anyone get a chance, if they didn't watch it, to watch it, because it was just a fantastic game.
Alessio or David, to continue on, I guess, Alessio getting the best view and David from the sideline as well, either or, whichever one of you wants to sort of, I guess, talk from your perspective.
Well, I could briefly say that I was down on so I did the pre-game show with Johnny, and then post-match interviews, and spent the middle 90 minutes on the sideline between the two dugouts in my capacity as the boundary reporter. It's only the second time I've done that job. I hope I did a job worth being commended and remembered for. Maybe they'll ask me again. The first half, it's an interesting perspective to take when you're down between the two benches. You kind of want to eavesdrop, but you also want to respect their privacy. I felt the Croydon bench looked more anxious through the first half than the Metro Stars bench, but as the second half wore on, I felt it went the other way. I felt Metro Stars perhaps looked a bit more anxious than Croydon, and that maybe comes back to something that was said earlier when we talked to Tony and Michael, that maybe they felt if they got to half time that they would come out on top, they being Croydon. So as the game wore on, maybe those emotions were occasioned to be swapped over, because Croydon felt more comfortable as the game wore on. The atmosphere down pitch side was incredible. The noise of the crowd, especially when there was something of note happening, either a goal or a near miss or whatever, was really quite exceptional. It reminded me of albeit on a smaller scale, a European game. It had that kind of feel about it. I really felt for Metro, as we glanced at the touchline there, they've been good to us through the year on a personal level. They've always been very hospitable, and although that shouldn't influence our thinking, you still remember that this is a team that really had a fantastic season, won the league, and they've still got the championship to look forward to. They did well in the cup, but ultimately won't be recorded for posterity as being the state's champions. And there feels like a little bit of an injustice there. But it was Croydon's night. I think they probably did, play the. Well, I can't say they played better. It was too evenly matched, but they played better than I've seen them in the past. They really rose to the occasion, if you like. And on the night, maybe deserved the win. It just feels a wee bit unjust that the whole season comes down to this, league campaign. I'm sorry, I harp on about it, but I really feel for these teams that have worked hard throughout the year, and then lose one game at the end, and then aren't recorded as being the best in the state.
As we let the end of these highlights roll, I guess, Alessio, I'll finish off on you as we approach the moments. Your view in general.
I think, as Mark and David alluded to, and as a lot of people said in the comments, best grand final in years. I mean, again, it was an underdog winning. I mean, this happened last year too, but I don't think it was as even last year. I really don't think Metro showed up until the last, to like one brief moment in that grand final last year. In this game, I think they actually did do quite well over the 90. Obviously, they just lost out in some key battles in the park, but I thought it was a great watch for everybody. And from all of what I've heard as well, it was probably justified the way the game went. Metro had been working on their consistency throughout the year, but if you think of them in big one-off games, they sometimes kind of slipped a bit. I mean, go back to, I think, the Cup semi-final, they beat Comets on penalties, only just, which was a big shock as well, that they were even that close to a team like Comets, who didn't even make the finals. You talk about them in last year's grand final. So I think it's been big one-off games. They actually, I kind of felt like we were talking about it the other day, they seem like they go away from their game plan sometimes a little bit, and they're just too hell for leather at, we have to win because we're expected to win. We must win because it doesn't, and then they just lose a bit of the way they're playing, the motions of play that they've been going throughout the year, that they've been doing game on after game. In these games, it seems like, I mean, Hamish Gow going through a man in the first half, Chittadini going all the way back to slide tackle in his own box. Like, I know sometimes if it works in your favour, it's heroic moments, it's memorable moments, it's dying for the badge, that kind of thing. But when you think about Metro, all these things should be in their favour by the way they play anyway. They shouldn't have to worry about last-ditch things if they're playing the way that they've been taught throughout the year and they've been coached for the last 3-4 years. So I think they kind of just steer away from their game plan a little bit in grand finals and one-off games, which is, I guess, a bit worrying for Danny, but he knows this more than anyone. He knows what the things they did wrong in all these games more than anyone. And if there's anyone to fix it, I think he's the man as well. So I think it's not all doom and gloom for them. I think they'll do well in this league kind of phase of the Australia Championship. It really bodes well for them that this is the way that it's panned out. It's not one-off game, elimination, 2 legs. It's a little bit of a league format. So I think they'll do well in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Very much, again, looking forward to that upcoming campaign. But yeah, all in all, great grand final and a great weekend of grand finals. Yeah, we'll go on to, I guess, what's... Oh, yeah, sorry, David.
I was just going to touch on the reserves. I just brought the reserves final up. Just thought I'd quickly mention it. Campbelltown City's reserves won 3-1 against West Torrens-Burculla. Did you guys hear about anything about this game? Did you know anything about this game?
No.
I saw when I came, it was 1-0 to Campbelltown.
Yeah,
by the time I came.
Campbelltown scored in the 53rd minute and we're leading 1-0. And I've got the game in front of me. Borelli scored a second goal for Campbelltown in the 90th minute. Jay Ialeggio scored again for Campbelltown in the 91st minute, and then Ialeggio scored an own goal in the 94th minute for West Torrens-Burculla. So 1-0 after 90 minutes, and it finished 3-1 with an own goal at the end. But Campbelltown crowned champions of the reserves.
I think they won the double too.
And I think the Hawks, did the Hawks, Adelaide Hills Hawks, not win the under-18s?
Yep.
They did, under-18 State League 2.
Yeah.
I can't remember who. I think Olympic won under-18s MPL, maybe?
Olympic won one.
Oh, maybe
Yeah,
they were State League 1, sorry.
Yeah.
State League 1 18s.
Gone
Won reserves, State League 2 against the league-winning LA Uni.
This is maybe something I should have done as my pick at the start of the show, isn't it? Anyway, I just wanted to mention there were some other finals, and we've mentioned a couple of the winners there. So just before you moved on.
No problem. Before we move on to what's coming up this weekend, Alessio, with our final, I guess, roundup of our predictions and how we did for the year. The last look.
The last look, the final time. And I think it's the worst week possible. I mean, there's only 3 games, but 3 points are picked up across the leagues, and only 2 people picked up points. David was our week winner. He got 2 points this week for the 3 games, so he correctly picked 2 winners. Seb got 1 point, and Mark and myself, none. So that leaves the table Seb on top with 441. Equal second is myself and David on 435.
Oh, we have to have a tiebreaker this weekend.
And on third with 431 was Mark.
Unbelievable. What happened to you, Mark? You were leading for most of it.
Yeah, that's just how I roll. Just want to give you guys a chance. So
That's very kind of you.
I know. Hey, I'm a thoughtful person.
Yes, yes.
Good to hear.
Well,
Yeah,
Hopefully those predictions, Mark, give you motivation for next year.
That's what we do on the show. That's right, isn't it, Alessio? That's what we do.
the two games or the two games here coming up, the two All-Stars games, we won't really predict them, but just sort of look towards them. We have the team of the years announced for both the men's and women's, which are on screen there, and they had a few of the fill-in players. I guess I'll say the team of the years now. For the men's, coaches Danny Greystone, Daniel Margush as the goalkeeper, the back four of Noah McNamara, Bulmer Paul, Jackson Walls, and Lewis Kylo, the midfield of Hamish Gow, Diego Santos de Oliveira, and Adam Martinello, and then forwards of Owen Windsor, Lewis Laurie Latanzio, and Jaden Labasso. And then for the women's game, the coaches Carl Maynard, goalkeeper Aaron Murphy, the defence of Victoria Costanzo, Lexi Knox, Gemma McFarlane, Alicia Ganieff, midfield, Madeline Wright, Jazz Styles, Anastasia Willoughby, and then the forwards of Nini Yamada, Kote Rojas, and Grayson Blishki, and then the sort of top-up players for players who either won't be playing on Saturday was announced today for the men's side: Noah Smith, Cody Osterreich, Tom Visser, Robert Neon Kuru, Lorenzo Baselli, Santiago Tabarez, James Polly, Mark Marino, and Hamish McCabe. And then for the women, Kira Glynns, Chrissy Panagaris, Yuka Sasaki, Hannah Freer, Matilda Comley, Elle Parensis, Sophie Burke, and Michaela Vidmar. So looking at both of those squads in prospects, they're very exciting teams, I think, across both games. David, you'll be doing the women's game. I guess your general thoughts. You did it last year as well, so you have experience with this All-Stars fixture. I guess, how are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's a good opportunity for myself, but also a good opportunity for us to see Adelaide United as they line up for their first public hit out, and also a chance to sort of not say goodbye. That sounds a little bit morbid, but bring the curtain down on the WNPL season, and a chance to see. It's always interesting to see how players who've been playing against each other all year go playing alongside each other. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be enjoyable. I'm not sure what kind of crowd will be out there. I can't really remember much about last year. I commentated with Izzy Hodgson, but I can't remember the score. I think was it 2-0 for Adelaide United. It was quite close.
No, 2-1. Georgie Nicola scored very late.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. So I mean, it was fairly closely contested as well. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I suppose unlike the men's game last year, which wasn't as close, Danny Greystone doing it for the second time as the coach as well. So there is, I guess, good for him, having a few of those Metro players, so he sort of knows what to expect. But I guess good to see a lot of those players sort of getting that time to sort of possibly shine on the day, Mark. I guess some players, I guess, you're looking out to seeing as well, playing as a unit.
Well, both goalkeepers will be looked at, I would say. I mean, both of them. Cody Osterreich is young, so he's got an opportunity there to impress. Margush wants another A-League contract, so both goalkeepers will be looked at, I think, for sure. Some of the other players, when you look at the squad, a lot of them have already been in and around. Like Labasso he's trained with Adelaide United years ago. I don't think he's going to be in with the shout, as in, I think that they won't look at him. They've already had a look at him, and I say that with as much respect as I can, but they've already had a look at him and when he was younger. So, Noah McNamara obviously come from the system. Jackson Walls came from the system. I think some of the player, it's more of about how they keep it competitive. I think this year a little bit more than what last year. Yep. And it's a reward for those players that have had outstanding seasons to come up against the A-League side and see how well they do. I mean, you can't say that none of them will be looked at, but I mean, Hamish Gow's in there, and we all think he should have at least have a look at some stage for an A-League contract. So again, he puts himself in the window. So we'll have to just wait and see. But yeah, I think there's a few of those players in there that will be certainly, especially those that play in those positions that are, I won't say lacking for Adelaide United, but probably don't have as much depth. Somewhere like a left back role where we don't probably have as much depth as somewhere else on the park. So, and goalkeeper, I think, as well. So it's some of those roles certainly a possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me on the women's side, we'll be interesting to see how Nini Yamada goes against Adelaide United to I guess almost not prove a point, but to showcase herself, because definitely the player, I think it's probably safe to say, the most deserving of getting an A-League women's contract somewhere.
Or at least look at. And I'm actually curious to see how Theo goes. Obviously, stepping out of the men's game into the women's game, we all know it is different. And so I'll be really, really curious to see how he transitions into the women's game and how the Adelaide United team will play under him. I think it'll be quite exciting.
Yeah, first game in charge. I would believe it's probably their first preseason match. I know the men's side have had a few preseason games, of course, but I think it's his first game and first friendly of the preseason. I think they start a couple of weeks later than the men's season, so probably a reason for that, and especially with the grand finals only being not last week but the week before. But yeah, really just looking forward to the day. Double header, unlike last year. So hopefully everyone stays along and watches both games. Do we want to do predictions or just very rough? I'm not going to post these, but do you just want to do very rough? Okay, let's. Okay, that was very quickly vetoed against.
Well, you guys can.
I predict everybody's going to have fun. That's what I'll say.
They'll get participation awards.
But yeah, very much looking forward to that. And I will just add on as well our friends very down south in the Limestone Coast. Their grand finals this weekend, I believe they're broadcast because they have been the past few years. So I believe they will be broadcast there on Saturday. I'm just double checking the fixtures, so I do get it right.
Is it the team from Melbourne that's playing in the final?
I don't think so. The women's is at 2 p.m. on Saturday between Apollo and Gambia Centrals. And then
Apollo's the team. Apollo was the team from Victoria, wasn't it?
No.
It was
Portland.
A red team? Portland.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the men's final is at I can't do 24-hour time. 15:30. That's 2:30.
3:30, mate. Yeah.
3:30. Gambia.
We got you. Don't worry.
Gambia Centrals versus Blue Lake. So, and I believe those will be live streamed and available to be tuned in on the Saturday. But yeah, that's pretty much us for another week. And our second to last episode of the season, we will finish off next week where we will announce our awards and I don't know what else is going to happen, but the awards are one thing, and we'll wear suit jackets probably like we did last year.
I forgot about that.
You have to wear suit jackets. It's a religious event, which we do from our studies. Anything to finish off this week from the three of you?
Thank you for everyone coming out to the games. The crowd's been amazing this year in all leagues. I'm sure all of us have been to 3-4 leagues this year, some amateurs as well, and I think the crowd's been as good as they can be. I know we got better crowds than some of our interstate neighbours too. So I think that was great. The support on the live streams has been good too. Support in person to our show, everyone listening, we can tell as well. And yeah, I think it's been a great year for everything off and on the park. And yeah, bigger and better next year as well. And we hope to see you all in our off season watching some more games and hopefully the Australian Championship.
Absolutely. Well put. Mark, David, anything?
I was just going to say, make sure you tune into the Australian Championship. Everyone get behind Metro. They're representing this state, and I think they'll do an absolute smashing job of it. They're a great side. It shows. I mean, they won the league at a canter, to be honest. So, but yeah, get behind them because I tell you what, I think it's going to lead to some absolutely great football this championship. Those teams are all vying to be crowned the inaugural B League champions. I don't like it to call it that, but I think it's a great initiative, and I think they'll do fantastic. So certainly get behind them. And lastly, David, what single have you got for us?
I was going to say it, so it sounded like
I got it. Yes.
I actually think it's one I've done before.
Is it the Celtic one?
No, it's Dana and the Northern Ireland 1982 World Cup squad with a song called Your Man. Have I done that
we've
before?
done that one.
Maybe.
Yep, I remember that one.
Look, it's official.
Yes, I remember that one.
Yeah. I was also just going to mention, it's nothing to do with South Australia, but one of my heroes when I was a kid was a guy called Eddie Hunter, and he sadly passed away at the weekend. He was Queen's Park's coach from 1979 to about 1995, and he was a hero of mine. He was a one-club man, and he passed away at the age of 82. He'd been ill for a couple of years, so I just nod my head in acknowledgement of you, Eddie. You were a hero of mine as a youngster, and I was sorry to read about your passing away. He pretty much did the job for free. Queen's Park were an amateur side for many years, the only amateur side playing senior football in the United Kingdom for a long time. They aren't now, but here's to you, Eddie, 1943 to 2025. So hero of mine gone, unfortunately, this week.
I was going to ask as well, how are Queen's Park doing this season so far, David? I haven't actually checked in on them.
We are consolidating a championship spot. Third bottom, I think.
Is that, to put in your words, mid-table mediocrity? to use your own words.
No, I think he's wishing they were mid-table mediocrity.
Third bottom currently in the championship in Scotland. I think the bottom two go down. So hopefully, avoid relegation. But I can't wait. I'm there in November. I'll be at their games. I think they're playing Partick Thistle away and Greenock Morton away are the two away games when I'm there. And then there's a couple of home games. So
I think you said you might even go watch a Swansea game, which will be the big occasion, I think.
Yeah, that thought's crossed my mind, but I'm not sure. Swansea's quite far away. Well, it's a long way away. There's a lot of options. There's as you know, I like my rugby too. So there's rugby games on, but I've also got my ticket for Scotland Denmark, as I mentioned before, at Hampden. But the Republic of Ireland are playing Portugal in Dublin about 2 days earlier. So, and that'll obviously be a chance to see, a Portuguese side that features a few big names. I don't even know who plays for the Republic of Ireland these days. But
don't worry, neither do they. I'm only kidding. I don't want to offend anyone. I'm kidding.
I was going to say, I've got Irish heritage, Mark. Got to be careful. All from you, David?
Yeah. Yep.
Perfect. That is us for another week. Tune in next week. Final episode for the year. And, of course, we'll talk about the All-Stars game as well. Enjoy your weekend. Hope you enjoyed the grand finals. See you around the place at the All-Stars games. If you're there, don't be shy and come up and say hi. It rhymes too. How's that? But yes, enjoy your weekend. Well done on the grand finals to all those that are involved, especially the behind the camera, the camera people, Jaden in particular, the producer. Always well put together, as always. I think one of the best in the country, if I'm to even say so.
And Chris Rickman as well. He produced too.
Yes, yep. Chris did produce too, yes. My apologies. But yeah, all in all, very good. Enjoy your weekends. We'll see you next week, the final episode, and we'll play the new intro outro for the second time.
The one that doesn't feature my voice.
It was. I made it in 15 minutes. So maybe next week I'll extend it. See you next week.
Yeah, gotta get some goals from this year as well.
Yeah. See you next week, guys.
What a moment for Metro Stars. They're back in this game, and we look like we're heading to extra time. But there's still 5 minutes to play here, Mark. And by all means, there could be more chances. Still in the box, and it's another goal! And it's Andre Cole, the hero from Croydon. We thought it was over, but it's not over, and Croydon look like they're going to go all the way to the win.
We can't say that now. Chrissy Pendergaris, Adelaide Comets have taken the lead.
Off the head, and it gets into the back of the net, West Adelaide. They could be winning the championship with minutes to go. I bet he was going to be Travella if he puts one in. He goes himself instead, and it's still Soy Saccani. It's unbelievable, David, as well, and that one is definitely going to be credited to him.
He'll put in a cross of his own. Hobbs wasn't able to capture it. It's in.
It's not the one that seals that Atletico promotion.
And the geezers too, yeah, we're doing this thing.